on my wall.
What a freaking... What a giant.
If you've done much warm weather hunting or early season hunting, one of the key things is sticking to your game plan. You know, you've done your homework, or your outfitter's done his homework or her homework, and you can't get in a tizzy. You can't try to rush things. And of course, you always want to try to be as close as possible to water. If you can situate yourself closer to water, you know, deer move a lot during the early season. They might come 300, 400, 500, 600 yards from a bedding area to a food source. So try to incorporate water and food into your early season hunts and be patient.
So last year I set kind of a bucket list hunt up to go out west, hunt with Rush Creek Adventures, and go after a velvet mule deer. So we got out there, met up with Miles, great guide, and kind of got the look of the place, got to see the layout of the land, and Anthony and I just put our boots to the ground and started kind of working some of the hills and trying to find a good muley to shoot. We had encounters every day with a shooter, but day 4, things started to look like they were going to come together. We had spotted 2 really big muleys. One was hardhorn, one was in velvet, heading back up into the sandhills of bed. So we paralleled them, got behind them, and started the stalk. Watch him. Watch him. Watch him. Oh, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a big old deer. There he is, right there. Right there. He's going down. You know what? Rush Creek Adventures. Look at that sucker too. Holy smoke. See that one? Look at that one over there. That one right there. There were 3 bucks in this group. And I'm gonna tell you, those were some big old muleys now. I came to Nebraska. I wanted to kill a velvet buck with my bow. And we've been here for 4 days. And man, it's so tough to get pulled off with a camera guide and bow. But we finally got the right deer in the right spot on the right day. So overall, my experience with Miles and Rush Creek Adventures was amazing. Great facilities. Miles is a great guide, and he's a guide who really wants you to kill the animal you're out there to kill. So while we were in camp in Rush Creek hunting on our mule deer hunt, I noticed that he had some really big whitetail sheds, and we got to talking about whitetail hunting, and the whitetail are in a completely different area than where the mule deer are, so we never really got to lay eyes on a lot of them. But Miles, man, you could tell when you talked about whitetails to him, he kind of lit up, and he knows his whitetails, and he knew he had some good ones. So with knowing the quality of animals that were out there, I made it a point to make it one of my stops in 2016. we're on the road. We left Missouri at about 12:45, so been driving for about 5 hours now. We're gonna make a quick stop in Kansas on our way to Rush Creek Adventures up in Oshkosh, Nebraska. Hunting whitetails up there, but we're gonna stop in Kansas. I still have a Kansas tag. We don't have to be in Oshkosh or Lesko area until around noon. So we've got about 2 hours to really, I don't know, hopefully try to get something done maybe, I don't know. And then if that doesn't work, we'll get in the truck and we'll drive about 3 more hours and get up to Nebraska and be in the tree tonight. Rush Creek Adventures has access to thousands of acres of land, and when I say that, I can't wrap my mind around how big it is. Miles says something about 24 miles of the Platte River, I believe. So 24 miles is what they look over, I guess. The layout's really crazy. When I'm from Missouri, central Missouri, and we have a lot of trees, a lot of hills. Out there, it's pretty flat, and really the only trees are along that river or any kind of water structure. And man, the deer are just packed into there, and they stay there all day, and in the evenings they come out and they go to these alfalfa pivots or corn pivots that are spread sporadically throughout the river bottom. So really it's an easy hunt for me to scout at least. It's harder to get in front of them, but you can really go out and scout those alfalfa pivots and see what deer are coming in, the quality of the deer that are coming to each pivot, and you kind of pick an area and just kind of get in between where they're going to eat and where they're going to bed. Guys, it's the first day here at Rush Creek Adventures. Windy, about 30 mile-an-hour winds, but Miles has a ton of bucks in here, a lot of mature deer. There's a particular 10-pointer that has split brows. It's a great deer. I really grew fond of just checking them out, but we're gonna, he has this set up perfect for us. Got the covert camera back behind us that's been getting all the pictures all summer, so hopefully we found a good creek crossing right here. We're going to sit on it. I don't know what's going to happen. This is a lot different than Missouri, but Miles has the pictures to prove they're here, so we're going to try to get in front of one tonight. So mid-September I'd sent Miles some covert cameras to put out, and he was sending me some pictures of some really good deer that were hitting an alfalfa pivot. So when we got out there, we sat on the alfalfa pivot that night. But we had a ton of deer come out to it. We could tell through the binos that there were some really good deer. It ended up being like 13 bucks out there that were all shooters in my opinion. Had a lot of activity, but man, we were fighting daylight. The deer just were not getting to the alfalfa pivot, and really to us in good daylight and in the camera light. So we looked at the forecast. We had 2 days of really hot weather ahead of us, and then the next day it was supposed to be like a 20-degree cold front. And in October, a big cold front's what you're looking for. So we figured that would be the day that those deer would be on their feet earlier.
Your odor is betraying you. It's ruining your hunt, pressuring your property, and killing your opportunities. This year, let nothing stand between you and your best season ever. Deploy a steady stream of odor-destroying molecules every second of every hour of every hunt with Ozonics. Available only at OzonicsHunting.com.
With 2 days ahead of us of really bad weather, we headed down to Kansas. It was a spot and stock hunt, so daylight movement really didn't matter. We spent 2 days down there, couldn't get in front of a mule deer, so we were gonna head back north and try to get in front of this cold front, see if we can get a whitetail in front of us. So we got back in Nebraska, and midday we had really decided that we were also going to push the stand up about 40 yards. We knew these deer were staging on the creek before they were crossing in front of us, and we didn't really know where they were crossing, but we figured if we moved the stand up 40 yards, we're that much closer, and it may buy us the time we needed to get one killed. Midday, Anthony and I went in, hung a new set, 40 yards up from our old set, and stayed in it all day, hoping that this would make the difference in getting them in the daylight.
Tuesday. We're gonna be here till Friday at least, but Coots has got to go back Wednesday night, so we got a couple days to hunt together. Then I think Robbie's gonna come down and hunt with me for a little while. So in a spot we've set 2 nights in a row. Had a lot of bucks come by us last night in low light, about 10 minutes after shooting light. What they're doing is they're coming out of the canyons, going to the South Alpha pivot, and they're just taking their time. We've had a cold front, got a really big cold front coming through Thursday. So I don't know, we had 9 bucks come by after dark. We couldn't get much footage of them because it was just so dark, but 9 bucks, and they all walked within 30 yards of this tree. So we moved the stand up about probably 60 yards maybe, up the drill a little bit just to try to put them in our lap. We can get a little bit better visibility of the canyons, so just to try to see what's going on. But we know there's a lot of bucks in here, there's a lot of shooters in here, so we're going to sit it out. It's just a matter of if they daylight. I think we're in the right spot, but time will tell. So we're going to sit it out, see what we can get done. Hopefully a shooter shows up.
About an hour before dark, we look up into the canyons and we start seeing deer stand up. And I'm noticing them counting bucks, and we end up having 11 bucks in the canyon, just kind of milling around, kind of staging really. Some of them were fighting, some were eating. We have to watch them now. They're probably 500, 600 yards away, and we have to watch them for an hour and a half before they start heading our direction. So as these bucks are out there, I'm trying to figure out which one's the biggest one, how many shooters there are. I know there's a ton of deer out there in my opinion, but as they kind of start filtering towards us, I'm watching, and the second buck was a really heavy deer, a 10-pointer, and I knew that that was the one I wanted to kill. I tell Anthony, hey man, they're coming, get ready, and they start heading our direction. As these bucks reach the creek, the first deer is an older deer, but I knew it wasn't the deer I wanted to take. The second one comes in, they all kind of get down in the creek and they're just watering and walking around a little bit. They're 20 yards there. I could have shot, but I had some limbs in the way. I just didn't feel comfortable with it, so I decided I'd wait. It was a very, very tense moment. Actually, at one point I felt the wind on the back of my neck, and that's the worst feeling you can ever have. I quickly adjusted my ozonics to make sure I was covered on the front side and waited for these bucks to show up.
Move your hand, move your hand. We got it done. We got it done. That is a toad. Dude, I can't. There's like 11 bucks in that group. One doe, 11 bucks. That was the biggest. That's a toad. But they came down. We saw him probably 800 yards up there. That whack-em smoked him.
So he goes out about 40 yards, stops, and falls over. Man, I'm super excited. My best Nebraska whitetail to date with a bow. We can't wait to get down out of the tree and take a look at him.
All right, well, we got him recovered. He didn't go far, and this is a buck Miles knows very well, right? You got pictures of him?
Yeah, I've watched him all late summer here and early fall.
We went through the pictures when we got into camp, and I saw him, and I was like, oh, I like the split brow buck. That's the one I want to go after. But we've been chasing him around, fighting some weather. Had some crazy hot days and some southeast winds in the 40s.
The wrong wind for the whole thing.
Absolutely. But
wait that out.
It absolutely did. We had a cold front come through yesterday. Pretty chilly for here. I got another big one coming through, so we took advantage of it, got the deer on their feet, and made it happen. Man, Miles, I cannot thank you enough. Rush Creek Adventures. They can put you on some giant mule deer like you saw last year. This is a giant whitetail I got, and you've killed even bigger than this probably.
Oh yeah.
So big whitetails, big mule deer, antelope. What else? What am I missing? Waterfowl?
Waterfowl and turkeys. Right in the middle of turkeys here where you got this deer. So.
Perfect.
Lots of birds.
We've seen a lot of turkeys too. So.
Yeah. And there was 11 bucks.
11 bucks with this deer when he came through. So we are extremely excited to get him done. We're gonna get him back and get him caped out, get him to Spring Creek taxidermy. But give Miles a call, Rush Creek Adventures. I'm telling you, Nebraska is a sleeper state.
So Rush Creek Adventures does it again, man. They have a phenomenal antelope hunting, turkey hunting, mule deer hunting, whitetail hunting. Just about anything you want to chase that fits in Nebraska, they got it. I can tell you that it's going to be a place I want to go back to for the rest of my life if I'm physically able to. A place that I will not ever forget. I've made some great memories out there and can't wait to see what else it's going to bring.